Okay. Let's see. Is anybody out there? It's 1:30 a.m. in California, and I decided to go live as I am scrolling through YouTube, and I'm just going to bring you guys along with me. So, earlier we were on live, and shout out to Elizabeth and Stuart and Carolina and Alley Cat, everybody who was hanging out on the live when it was abruptly ended. There was something crazy in the chat. But there was boots on the ground in the chat earlier, Alley Cat. The docket, she was on docket watch and saw that Sarah got a new attorney. So she got a new attorney, and we saw his name was Rodrigo Kuko. So now that everything is settled, I had to go to Tanika's page because I saw that she uploaded about him and just see a little bit about Rodrigo. So Rodrigo, when we saw the name, I knew that Sarah would be a little peeved when she saw that her attorney was of Hispanic or Latin, you know how Sarah is. But Rodrigo has a real a history or background that Sarah he may mesh with Sarah. He may be able to deal with people of her caliber. Let's read his or actually, let's go to Tanika's page. And let's see.
Providing solutions to active and retired members and their families across all services. He provided a
Okay.
broad range of legal.
Okay, so this is Tanika's reading Rodrigo's mission statement, and it reads Rodrigo's military service is the foundation of Caruco law. In his role as legal advisor to the base commander, Rodrigo provided simple and complex estate planning solutions to active and retired members and their families across all services. So, this guy is used to dealing with military and high. Hey, Candace. Hey, Detective Will Buffett. I literally just gave you a shout out. I just gave you a shout out a few minutes ago. Yes, yes. Detective Will Buffett says, no malicious. I got your back, girl. Yes. Someone earlier in the chat told me to end my stream in 3 minutes, and I just ended the stream. And Detective Will Buffett, being the detective that she is, went and researched and found that it was a scam, like a troll, I think. So we're just going over everything, and we're reading Rodrigo's information, but we're visiting Tanika's page so that she can just tell us a little about him.
Darien mother and Mozambique.
He's from Africa, from South Africa. Did you? That's what I learned when we were out. Candace, heart back to you too. When I was listening to Tanika, he's from South Africa and he is has like Latin heritage, so that's double trouble for Sarah.
And most devastating civil wars in African history. So I would qualify him as an African American because he's from Africa. He lives in America. I
Mm-hmm.
don't identify as an African American. I'm a black person. I was born in America. Mom was born in America. Her mom was born in America. Just a random side note. Okay,
Proud
so
to be an American. Yes. So Rodrigo is an African American and he has a lot of complex history. Ogre, hello, what's this channel about? We're just talking about some true crime, some things that are going on. Our favorite, someone named Sarah Boone, you can look her up later, and Donna Adelson, a murderous matriarch. We're talking about them because they've had a hard week this week. Very hard. Sarah is on her 12th attorney in her quest for innocence and her release, and Donna just found out she'll be spending the rest of her life in prison. So yay, all of her prison sunshines are waiting for her back at the jail. Oh, and Charlie, speaking of that, Charlie has been acting up over at Leon County, going berserk on the inmate, the correctional officers in there. On True Lifestyle, YouTube, True Lifestyle, I watched a video earlier where True Lifestyle said that he was cursing out the correctional officers for hitting his toe. His toe was banged during med call, and he started calling her all kinds of names and inviting her to his private parts and just being just really crazy. So Charlie just maybe he did look pretty crazy in the back of that transport van. So he either was stressed about his mom or he's just really going crazy and gotten acclimated to being inmate Adelson. Okay, hey, Lucky says, "What do you think about Trump? That's our president. What do you think about him? That's our president." Okay, never heard those names, so I gotta learn 'em. Yes, you gotta hang out with true crime. True crime, those are the two of Florida's favorites right now. But Donna Adelson and the 120 curse year, 120-year curse. Donna, I thought about when she said that Dan was haunting her from the grave, and I can imagine now she really feels that way, where she has nothing but time just to sit back and think about what she did to Dan.
Part of how she's
Where's
hardwired, she
Tanika?
doesn't understand, like, when you berate and but Joshua Adams Esquire is hereby allowed to,
Okay, so
is
Judge
hidden to
Cranick,
order
or Judge Cranick, he gave Sarah grace and he allowed her to get another attorney. I know Josh is happy.
of new appellate counsel, and the court having been fully advised in the premises, it is hereby ordered and adjudged that Joshua Adams Esquire is hereby allowed to withdraw from further representation of the defendant in the above styled cause, and Rodrigo Caruso Esquire is hereby appointed to represent the defendant in this case. Done and ordered in
Yes, I'm in California. I love India. It's so beautiful. Donna was trying to escape to Vietnam, and she was caught at the airport. What time is it where you watching from? It's 1:30 here in California.
Rodrigo sounds like he's of the brown persuasion. He is. He's a light skinned brown persuasion because, we had to go be nosy. He's cute though.
True
He's a
lifestyle.
cutie.
Let
I don't know
me
why I
see.
said that.
True
He's just cute.
lifestyle.
Rodrigo Manuel.
Okay, here we go. I want to hear about Charlie.
Threatened to kick on the door in order, and
Okay,
he refused to
we
accept
have
them,
a
stating,
behavior note from Charlie Adelson. I want you guys to hear what Charlie was up to in the prison. And this is from True Lifestyles. She has some really good stuff over there. You guys check her out.
and it shall be noted that due to Adelson's classification status, no inmates were out of their cells in the open pod during Adelson's transport. There was a note that Luis Rivera was in the jail at the same time, so they had to keep them separated. August 18th, he
Luis Rivera and Charlie Adelson were at the prison at the same time in Leon County. Ooh, I wonder if the Latin Kings got their hands on Charlie while he was there, or was he in protective custody?
got on the intercom and demanded to see a lieutenant over the tablet. I advised him of the policy changes, and he refused to accept them, stating a lieutenant on a previous shift at.
Okay, I want to read this to you guys. Okay. Inmate got on the intercom and demanded he see a lieutenant over the tablet. I advised him of the policy changes and he refused to accept them, stating a lieutenant on a previous shift advised him that he would receive a tablet. Inmate then threatened to kick on the door in order to get a lieutenant down here. I advised him that if he kicked the door, that it would impress no urgency upon me and that he could make his necessary phone calls when he came out for the first time. Inmate returned to his bunk without any incident. Negative earned. So Charlie is next. Mental health enters pod to see inmate. So mental health, the nurses come to see Charlie. Inmate Adelson requested that I contact classification to let them know that he needed a tablet to contact his attorney. This is for documentational purposes only. So, Charlie is demanding a tablet for his attorney. Didn't his mom transfer prisons because she lost access to her tablet? Something like that. Myself and Sergeant Williams escorted inmate Adelson from the pod to Unit 1 to make a call from the agency landline. Inmate Adelson made one call and was very appreciative. He was then escorted back to the pod without any incident. It shall be noted that due to the Adelson's classification status, no inmates were out of their cells in the open pod during Adelson's transport to and from the unit. So he's on high alert. They're watching him. He's on high alert. Charlie is considered a high classified client. Inmate was out for a shower. Inmate stated that he has not had his meds since he's been in this jail at Leon County. Can he please ask the med nurse, can he receive his meds when she comes around to pass the meds? Inmate Adelson is asking for his meds. Officer James stated that the med nurse had been to his pod and passed the meds out already. Inmate Adelson is asking for his meds. Officer stated that the med nurse had been there already and he'd have to wait. While doing a round, inmate Adelson was on the tablet talking on the phone. Taking, that must be a typo. Inmate Adelson was let out for his Securus visit. Inmate was secured in the attorney booth, and this time it was successful. He was able to hear his attorney. The inmate Adelson is walking around his cell. Everything appears to be 10-4 at this time, and I'm assuming 10-4 is okay. Inmate laying on the rec deck, appearing to be listening to music or talking on the tablet. He appears to be 10-4. Okay. Inmate is out for his confinement time and he placed a soup at cell door 35. I asked him, why was he placing a soup beside that cell door? And he stated, I promised him, quote, I promised him something because he let me use his tablet to order my canteen when I came back here. So Charlie is still trying to play the mob boss, or he's just bartering in there. He's giving someone a soup at cell 35 so that he can, because he let him use his tablet. Inmate appears to be 10-4. Okay. Resting on his bunk. That's a typo, resisting. Resting on his bunk. Officer Williams observed him talking on his tablet. So Charlie's pacing around the cell. He's panicked. He wants to talk to his attorney. I wonder if it had anything to do with him testifying, because we didn't see Charlie testify. We saw the transport thanks to Tanika. She posted the video. We saw him looking like Jack Nicholson in The Shining and talking to himself and scarfing down some food and just looking just really crazy. But we didn't get to see him testify. So that was pretty a bummer. Inmate Adelson is resting on his bunk. Inmate Adelson is still resting on his bunk. He seems to be 10-4, so 10-4 is okay. Adelson is up, walking around his cell on his tablet, pacing. Adelson received a lunch tray. While conducting a round inmate, Adelson approached his cell door and advised me that his slide was ripping and he needed some new ones due to him not wanting to see his lawyers Tuesday like that. I advised Adelson that it in fact It is, in fact, a weekend day, and the warehouse is closed. But I would advise my unit supervisor and also that he needs to put in a request to laundry for a new pair of sandals. Adelson returned to his bunk. So Charlie wants a new pair of slides because they're ripping, and he doesn't want to see his attorneys like that. Newsflash, Charlie, your attorneys know that you're inmate Adelson now. You're no longer Dr. Adelson. Do you guys think Charlie is doing any dental work in prison? Do you guys think that he's opening mouths in there or and helping the guys out? Inmate escorted to attorney visit. Okay. He seems okay. He's 10-4. He's inmate is out for 1 hour. While Lieutenant Safford conducted a round, inmate Adelson requested a new pair of slides again. So he really is very serious about his slides. His attorney visit came and he still didn't get a new pair, so he's not happy about that. Inmate is currently under protective custody status, but he does not need to come out at the same time as inmate Rivera. Louis Rivera. So they don't want Louis and Charlie to see each other in the prison. What, oh my God, what do you guys think? If they saw each other, I know that Louis, well, no, maybe Louis wouldn't want to jeopardize his release because he actually is the only one out of this whole tragedy that will be released again to see his family. You know, he will be able to see his children one day if he makes it out. So Charlie and Louis in the same prison. Inmate had a shower. So, inmate is under protective custody and they're trying to keep him and Rivera away. Adelson is resting on his bunk. Adelson is still resting on his bunk. 10-4. 10-4. He's okay. So, he's fine. The Latin Kings, I assume, are in every prison. You know, they're a gang. So I'm assuming no matter what prison Charlie goes to, he's going to run into the Latin Kings. So he pretty much will spend his entire prison stay on protective custody. Oh, no wonder he's going crazy. You know, not being able to be in general population at least. He's locked away just with a tablet alone. Inmate Adelson is resting on his bunk. So Charlie, after his attorney visit, he's fine. He's not pacing. He's fine. He just went to lay and hang on his bunk. And he did not bump into Luis Rivera. But he had a disagreement with a correctional officer. Let's see and find that because that got a little spicy. Oh, look at Donna. Donna was so sad. She was crying with no tears when she finally heard her fate. Miss Adelson and Judge Jackson, he is just sentencing all of the Adelsons just with no problem, right? All of them one by one. Okay, inmate continue. Here we go. Inmate Adelson continues to have his blanket draped over his bunk, and once I hit on the cell door, he becomes enraged and disrespectful, stating, "You bitch ass ninja." You know, that word rhymes with something else. Yikes. So, you're going to DIE today. Go, and he invites the officer to his private spot to suck it and calls her an HOE and another bitch. And it says the inmate appears to be resting and sitting on his bunk. So he's just cursing out this person for knocking on his door and telling him, hey, you have to move this blanket. You can't have it draped over so we can see inside to see what you're up to. And he doesn't like that. So he decides to curse them out. Inmate Adelson is up to... okay. Lieutenant Williams instructed this reporting officer to open the door, and he advised Adelson to have a seat on his bunk. Adelson explained that He was standing at his cell door barefoot because we, Leon County, need to give him some new slides, does not issue shoes, and I, Sergeant Jackson, slammed the door open and effed up his toe. Quote, effed up his toe. When asked what toe was injured, Adelson verbally replied, quote, my right big toe. He was directed to step to his cell door and he stated, I don't think it's broken, I just think it's effed up. When offered to be taken to medical for evaluation, Adelson initially refused to go to medical by stating, quote, it's fine, I would just like my meds, please. He eventually exited cell 39 to be escorted to medical anyway by Lieutenant Williams and I. So that's good. These lieutenant and the other officers, they're like, no, sir, you're going to go to medical still so that we can cover ourselves. Adelson arrived in medical at 11:41 hours and he was evaluated by Tracy Cagle, RN. During this evaluation, I photographed the alleged injury on Adelson's right foot. I also photographed his left foot for comparison. From the initial encounter with Adelson until he was escorted to medical, I did not observe any swelling or redness on his toe that was effed up. Nurse Cagle asked Adelson what happened, and he stated, quote, I was standing at the door barefoot, and she pushed the heavy wooden door open. Immediately after, he stated, I had my sandals, but my toe was sticking out, and when the door opened, it nailed my toe. So he got like, stumping his toe on the bed. I know that hurts, but he's just making a bed. I mean, I could still walk on it, and the nail is not ripped off or anything. So he was off some Motrin or Tylenol and a lollipop. Go suck this lollipop, you big baby, and go back to your cell and hope that Lewis doesn't and the Latin Kings don't catch you. The encounter was with inmate Adelson was captured on my Axon body camera. Lieutenant Webster was also there. And please refer to the deputy supplemental report for the relocation and personal account of events. Okay, so that's it for Charlie and his toe. I don't know if he received his new slides, but he absolutely made a fuss about it. He wants new slides and he doesn't want to get caught by the Latin Kings, him and Lewis. Let's see. No, hi, I mean, just, you guys, I'm up late. Did anyone else go live? I wonder did Suma post today or Hear Me Out? Hear Me Out is doing a hilarious rendition of the Sarah Boone family hearing. And yes, I'm the judge. I'm Judge Jackson. I love it. I love it. It is hilarious. I was just rewatching last night. Hold on.
Take a brief 2-minute break.
Oh, Tanika, get it together, lady.
I'm back on Tanika's page. If you're listening back to on the replay, I'm just hanging out on YouTube up late, so I'm just scrolling around with you guys. Look at Jackie Bulford.
Person could please rise. Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yeah.
If you please can hand the verdict form to...
Did you guys notice that the attorney to the left of Donna was giving her the side eye when she was crying? She wasn't even trying to comfort her. She was just giving her a side eye. I think you can see it on this thumbnail. She's down in the corner just giving her a side eye.
At this time, I will publish the verdict. We, the jury, find as follows as the count 1 of the indictment, first-degree murder.
Donna's shaking.
The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder.
Oh my God.
Mrs. Adelson, control yourself. Count 2. We, the jury, find as follows as the count 2 of the indictment. Conspiracy to commit first-degree murder.
Oh, Donna.
asking for a friend. Could they have put like a one of those spit things on her face, or is that only if you actually? I can't believe she. Oh my! Like, but watch her eyes, dry, drier
I noticed
than a
that.
James Bond martini.
The defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Count three. We, the jury, find as follows as the count three of the indictment.
Yes, Donna.
Solicitation to commit first-degree murder.
Oh,
The
Dr.
defendant is
G
guilty of
also. He did Donna's body language. Let me
And
see.
there's anger in there too. Watch this.
Dr. G, I love Dr. G, but he said Donna knew this was coming. He said he could see it in her face that she may have been surprised. There was some acting along with faking in
It's
her
real. And
her
I'm going to
response.
explain what I think is a performance, and then there's a lot more to view. So let's just keep going.
first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first.
So you see the eyebrows. That is legitimately sad. Our eyebrows go up in that arc when we're sad. What we're not seeing is surprise. Because oftentimes when we're surprised, our eyes open really wide. Not seeing that, so I think that maybe she was actually expecting this. Maybe hopeful that it wouldn't happen. But she seemed to be prepared for that. This verbal outburst, on the other hand, is more performative. As we've seen with her previously, she has the capacity to perform, to act out. And that's part of what this is. So this is a combination of genuine sadness and a performance that's getting added to that.
First-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself.
And there's anger in there too. Watch this.
Indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder.
So she turns away from the judge. There's anger there. She can't look at the judge right now. She doesn't want to face the reality of it. Like I said, there's a performance aspect to this, but they're definitely.
And she kind of like clutched her fist together. Oh, like she. Oh.
Definitely real emotions there as well. There's sadness. I think there's anger. I'm going to show you more about the anger in a second.
Murder. Mrs. Adelson,
You saw her hands braced together, and it looks like she's almost hitting downward. There's genuine anger. There's rage almost, actually. So we're seeing sadness. We're seeing rage. But we're going to see more of the performance as we keep going, because it continues to sort of build on itself. So the shock of this, that's going to pass, and most of
He said the performance. So Dr. G thinks that Donna is performing right now. What do you guys think about that?
what we're going to see later, in my opinion, is less authentic emotion.
the defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself. Count two. We, the jury, find as follows as the count two of the indictment.
Her attorney's rubbing her.
So here's where more of the performance comes in. You're seeing her cry, basically, but we're seeing no tears. We've seen this from her before. And it's not that everybody
Right.
has to have tons of tears coming out, but we are not going to see a single tear, at least not as far as I can count.
Conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Count three.
Now look, this is a look of anger. Right here, we're seeing anger in the brow. She's stomped down. She's angry. So the sadness passed pretty quick. Now she's just
This-
mad about this. And so
The sadness passed really quick.
crying, those aspects are for everybody else to make people feel bad. Look what you've done to me. You should not have done this to me. This isn't right.
I think that's why the judge, and shout out to the pretend judge, she said, I believe that was her that said that the reason he sent them out is so the jury wouldn't be affected, even though the verdict was already read, but he didn't want the jury to see her outburst.
So I assume this is for the jury, for those of us at home, for the judge. So there's parts of this that are a performance, but there's so much anger behind this.
Of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Count three. We, the jury,
And there she is looking at the camera again. I talk about how it's for the people at home. Watch this right here.
murder.
She's looking right at the camera.
Count three.
So there she is looking at the camera, remembering there's an audience. This is a performance. She wants people to see it. She wants people to feel bad. So keep in mind, this is not just purely a genuine reaction to what's going on in the courtroom right now.
We, the jury, find as follows as the count three of the indictment.
See, look at the camera. Now she's really bunching her eyes together, really trying to show how
She's
much
trying to make a
crying.
tear come out, yeah.
Solicitation to commit
I didn't
first-degree
notice
murder.
that. I didn't notice that before. She's really squinting so hard. but there's nothing coming out.
The defendant is guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder. And it is signed and
So if we're trying to figure out what emotions were really, anger is really the one that comes through. It looked like, based on the way her body is moving, she's stomping her foot on the ground, and that's pure anger right there. So we're seeing a little bit of sadness in the eyebrows.
Okay, she's shivering.
You see that tension? She's just holding a facial expression, trying to appear sad and shaking over and over again. This is just not what normal emotions typically look like. They come in waves. When we're showing that sadness, it happens just when we're feeling it. It lets off a little bit, but it doesn't just stay on our face like that. And the shaking, once again, I know I've talked about this before, typically doesn't look like this. So right now she's looking over towards the jury, shaking her head, making sure that people can see how she feels.
She's like, you guys got it wrong. You got this wrong. How could you do this to me? How could you do this to me?
See, looking up at this guy, then looking back over at the jury, this to me appears manipulative. This doesn't appear to be an authentic, involuntary reaction to what's going on.
She's mad at the jury. I didn't even look at it like this. She's mad at the jury.
attorneys or elsewhere. It will be up to you to decide whether to preserve your privacy as a juror. With that being said, I want to extend my thanks on behalf of the entire Second Circuit for your service in this matter.
Judge Jackson is like,
So we're seeing the attempt at looking sad.
business as usual.
We're seeing flashes of anger in that. She's looking over at the jury. You're seeing anger flash across her face. Watch this.
With that,
He's like, Judge Jackson is like, business as usual. Keep going. Oh, he talks about Ruth Markel too. She looks so beautiful with her hair and her glasses like Mariah Carey. She was standing there, and I bet she had her impact statement written out already. Earlier, I said I even think she has one written out for Wendy too. I hope she gets to see Wendy be held accountable too.
Shake her head. Watch this.
And sociability greatly enriched the FSU College of Law. Dan's life.
You see that head shake. Now, Donna Adelson could be doing this because she's trying to perform, because she wants people to know that she can't believe this is happening. But it's such an inappropriate thing to do. She is capable of reining this in more than she's doing right now. And it's really a disgrace to do this to Dan Markel's mother while she's talking.
Yes.
At the very least, she could try to contain some of this, and there appears to not only be no effort to that, she seems to be playing it up.
And
Yes.
was present, loving, and supportive, always putting his children's well-being first. He regularly attended the boys' daycares, reading with them. His office was filled with their drawings, and his home, his living
Look at
room
Donna.
filled with their toys.
She seems
So
annoyed.
as Dan Markel's mother is talking about what he was like, the impact, the positive impact he had on the world, Donna Adelson continues to try to draw attention to herself.
Yes.
Ordinary efforts
She is making she's upset at his mom.
underscore the brutal truth of our family's story. Danny's murder was orchestrated by his former mother-in-law, Donna Adelson, and other co-conspirators. And
Wendy.
is a crime of cruelty.
Wendy.
See, now you're seeing the big head shakes. Obviously, she's going to continue to deny this as though there's anything else that can be done or that will be done at this point. She has been found guilty. This is
Yeah,
definitive.
it's
There's no
over.
changing
It's
this.
over.
And other co-conspirators, and is a crime of cruelty. Is a murder.
The behavior of Donna Adelson in this, in my opinion, is shameless. And that's something he seems to lack, to be able to engage in these kinds of behaviors. A real profound lack of shame when it comes to a situation like this, despite the fact that she was involved, despite all that she did,
Everything she did.
still continuing to try to make people pay attention to her when Dan Markel's mother is talking is just unreal.
Is a murder of grief, a murder of selfishly prioritizing one's own desires over what is just or right, to a brutal separation between Dan and Wendy. To the heart.
The attorney sitting next to Donna, she can't even hide it. Her face is just like, stop crying, lady. She's giving Donna the side eye. Jackie Bulford is looking at Miss Markel as she speaks, but the attorney next to her is just giving a serious side eye to Donna.
House. And
She's even rolling her eyes right here. Watch this.
to a brutal separation between Dan and Wendy. She went to the house, and Dan came home, and he found that Wendy and the boys were gone, with most of their belongings. He called this devastation Pearl Harbor. Donna's eagerness.
You see her, the way she's pressing her lips together? Now, there is real stress here. I talked about control earlier. She's truly out of control here and is being forced.
And don't forget that Donna was trying to plan for Wendy to give Dan the news that she was leaving as he was on the stand. She wanted, as he was presenting to his students, she wanted him to get the text so that he could be distraught during his presentation. That was important to Donna.
To listen to Ruth Markel talking about what she did. And that loss of control is going to be very uncomfortable. So you are seeing some real signs of stress right here.
Pearl Harbor. Donna's eagerness for Wendy to...
And you'll see she notices the camera again after she tucks her head down.
Donna's eagerness for Wendy to divorce Dan and to relocate to South Florida led her to increasingly devise desperate schemes. Despite these efforts, the court ruled to orchestrating Dan's murder. She plotted, planned, and paid for his murder. Donna's crimes led to further devastation. Her middle son, Charlie, was convicted and sentenced to a life in prison for his role in facilitating Danny's murder.
So this was interesting. She's
Sidebar, and now Charlie is in Leon County trying to avoid the Latin Kings and get a new pair of slides because his big toe got stumped.
been reacting so strongly to so many things. But when we're talking about Charlie Adelson being in prison for the rest of his life, she's not really reacting to that. Watch this.
Sentenced to a life in prison for his role in facilitating that.
All she does is give her a little bit of side eye, but there's not really any outpouring of emotion for Charlie.
Danny's murder for hire. Can you imagine a mother involving a son to complete a murder? Donna's eldest son, Rob, an honest and
That is pretty low, involving your child in a murder. That is pretty low.
decent man, is estranged from the family.
Robert.
And her younger child, Wendy, has decided once again to relocate to another state. Her actions and those of her co-conspirators have caused
No reaction when she talks about Wendy either. It's so interesting to me. There's zero reaction. She's just trying to remain still when she talks about Wendy.
Because she's mad at Wendy.
Has decided once again.
Well, not still. She's still shaking. But she's not doing any of the histrionics. She's not looking up at the sky. She's not saying things. Breath. You're not seeing any of that. She's just trying to remain relatively still considering her baseline right now.
To relocate to another state. Her actions and those his last name.
Her baseline, her blink rate is also very high. Dr. G hasn't mentioned that yet, but I noticed that her blink rate is through the roof.
And after the first arrests were made, Donna didn't allow the Markel family to have access for over 6 years. It was only...
We're all ready to talk at this part. Sorry. This is so sad right here. The children were not even able to go to their dad's funeral or have access or contact with their dad's family for 6 years. It wasn't until a foundation started passed the Markel Act that Ruth and Philip were able to see their grandchildren. And it was still monitored and very, just not like a grandparent's visit like Donna got to get for all those years.
Notice Donna look around, see if anybody's paying attention, and when they're not, she reacts more strongly. Watch this. She looks over at her attorneys, I guess, to get some sort of reaction. When she sees they aren't looking at her, she starts verbalizing more.
The arrests were made. Donna didn't allow the Markel family to have access for over 6 years. It was...
Donna's looking around. The attorneys are all eyes on Ruth, and Her other attorney is giving her the side eye, so she's ramping it up. Now she's shivering and about to start crying.
Only when there was a phenomenon.
Now we're going to skip ahead to Phil Markel. This is Dan Markel's father.
If you please could tell us your name for the record.
Good evening. My name is Phil Markel.
Hey, Phil.
I'm Danny's father.
Respect. Much
Judge
respect.
Everett, I appreciate the opportunity to speak about the impact of Donna Adelson's act.
Donna continues shaking her head. She just cannot resist doing this. She can't just sit still. And it's as though there's going to be any impact on anybody. Nobody's looking at her
There's
other
a
than us,
siren.
obviously. Nobody in the courtroom's paying attention to her. The judge wants her to stop doing the histrionics. Her attorneys aren't looking at her. So this is a performance, I presume, for us, because nobody else is looking.
Actions.
So no one in the court is paying Donna any attention. So she's making eye contact with the camera and just ramping it up. So Dr. G believes that this whole performance with the no tears is for us, we the people.
And the families of so many others. While this victim impact statement is addressed to you, Your Honor, it is also intended for the Adelson family. Harvey, Charlie, Wendy, and particularly Donna.
You're next, Harvey.
I would like them to understand.
Now, this was interesting. We've seen her shaking this whole time. It looks like as he's talking about this, as Phil Markel is bringing this up, now she's actually listening. There's something about this that's piqued her curiosity. Watch, her behavior changes very quickly.
Wendy, and particularly Donna. I would like them to understand and reflect on the deep and irreparable damage they have caused. The pain.
See, for a second there, when he said that this is for Donna, she stopped shaking. It threw her off her game a little bit because she got curious. Because when we get curious like that, that puts us in the intellectual part of our brain, takes us out of that emotional, performative part of our brain. So she wanted to listen for a second. Once she realized she actually didn't want to listen, she went back to acting how she had before. But that was really the only break we've had in this performance for the past 20 minutes or so.
She let her mask slip. It slipped for a minute. Her whole crying facade. Phil got her attention. When Phil said, "This is especially for Donna. I want her to hear this." Her and her conspirators, her co-conspirators. Donna stopped shivering and turned and looked at Phil to listen. She stopped weeping and everything, and then she snapped back into it.
To their own immediate family and so many other families and children around. Donna's selfishness, cruelty, and complete disrespect for human life.
She keeps looking
Looking
to her
around,
attorneys as
yeah.
though they're going to be looking at her and commiserating with her, whereas her attorneys are professionals. They're just behaving as they're supposed to during this, but Donna's expecting other people to engage in these histrionics with her, and nobody else is doing it.
Selfishness, cruelty, and complete disrespect for human life.
I didn't notice this, and I've watched this about 4 times. She is, as Phil is speaking, she keeps looking at her attorneys and trying to signal to them like, poor me, what about me? Pat me on the back. I'm the victim here. The other attorney, she's been on to Donna. She's been giving her the side eye since the beginning of the verdict.
Along with that of her co-conspirators, have left family.
See, she keeps talking. It's so disrespectful to the Markels. And once again, I'm fully aware she was part of a plot to murder their son. So I know that the genuine level of respect is there, but even just for the sake of optics, even for the judge, the fact that she will not stop interrupting with her speaking, that she will not just behave, is just remarkable to me.
Anyone.
And that is a very good point that he highlighted. Very good. If perhaps she was an innocent woman sitting there, you would think that she would cry for herself, but at least give the victim's family the respect of speaking.
To commit such a cold-blooded, unprovoked act of murder.
Now this look right here. I want to show you this.
For anyone to commit such a cold-blooded.
Now that's disapproval. That look right there. There's a lip compression, but the position of it shows that she's disapproving of this statement right here.
Unprovoked.
And you're seeing, once again, there appears to be anger in the brow. This is not sadness, it's not sympathy. She feels she's disapproving and angry right here from
Anger.
what I can tell.
Act of murder
She's
is
upset.
horrific. For Donna, someone who claims to care.
All right, we'll go ahead and stop here. It's basically over at this point.
He said, Philip went on to say, for Donna, someone who cares about her sunshines, now all she has is her prison sunshines. So that is pretty interesting. Donna definitely has some disdain for Rob, her eldest son, for getting on the stand and speaking freely, and for also telling the FBI everything. You know, he didn't go along with their plan, even though she said, "Oh, you don't know anything anyway." But he knew enough to tell what she was up to, and that clearly was enough. Oh, let's see. Wendy is here.
Not a financial offer. Was that part of it as well?
Yes.
What was the financial offer to be? Not a financial offer. Was that part of it as well?
Yes.
What was the financial offer to be?
$1 million.
Who was going to pay the $1 million?
My mom, my dad, and my brother.
And they were going to pay $1 million. You didn't have to pay any of it?
I don't remember having to pay any of it.
And they were going to give Dan Markel $1 million. I'm showing you this slide also from Exhibit 64W, which indicates that you were going to go into the $1 million offer as a third. Does that refresh your memory on that deal?
I mean, it refreshes my memory, but it's not something I ever considered or thought about doing.
Not a financial offer. Was that part of it as well?
Oh,
Yes.
Wendy definitely should get charges brought against her. She was supposed to pay part of the $1 million. Oh, Wendy. She was going to pay the $333K pitch in and tried to lie about it. Georgia, I think Georgia has some stuff up her sleeve for Wendy. And she's just waiting. I really do. Okay, I have a comment from A Name, and he says, people are saying that maybe Donna chose Jackie Pulford because she was her only hope of avoiding prison. Judging by the performance, maybe ineffective assistance of counsel. Well, Jackie did the best that she could with what she had, but the evidence was really stacked against Donna. I don't know if she was offered a deal, but Donna was pretty cooked from the beginning, in my opinion. Oh, and for Sarah, hold the phone, J Max says. You do realize you are talking about a former straight A student from ongoing 30 years ago, nonetheless. Right. She thinks it's mean. She thinks, oh, an appeal. Sarah thinks an appeal means she'll get out. That's not what it means. She'll get a new trial if her case is reversed on appeal. She'd stay in jail through another trial, get found guilty again. So she would just get the chance to get out and ask for some snacks again. So it is now 2:16 in California. And okay, I think that's going to be it. I'm just scrolling around YouTube. I haven't found anything else. I just wanted to check on Sarah's new attorney, and Dr. G just did a great breakdown about Donna. Let me head over to classified crime before I get off and see what classified crime is doing over there. Oh, classified crime is post the family court recap.
The sheriff's service of the summons, that they're ordering the sheriff to serve it. And this is the judge's order setting the...
Oh, okay, that's a hearing. Okay. It looks like a hearing for the telephone. Did she attend the
hearing.
the
He
court
filed
hearing?
at 2/21/23. It says order setting So how do you know that? Not only for our son, but every child who attends there. Oh, so now we should just shut the whole school down because some incarcerated lady.
Okay, so it looks like classified crime has posted one of Sarah's letters, and Sarah's saying, also, the last letter I received regarding my case was from England, more than 3 hours away. Over 120 miles isn't going to solve the problem. So she thinks that if people are reaching out to her from England, that Brian shouldn't have a problem coming to visit her. No friends, new possibly even worse pressures, culture shock altogether. How can former husband tell if this supposed miraculous move really is in our son's best interest? Especially if, quote, temporary, per their petition to relocate. So, if granted, they're moving back or again or somewhere else where my case is finalized, when my case is finalized, however, and whenever that will be, awaiting her successful release. If former husband doesn't care about our son getting good grades or even wearing shoes, why is any of this concerning all of a sudden? It's been 3 years. Former husband is very concerned about your son getting good grades. Fast forward, he's in a really great math program, like M program, and he's doing pretty good, Sarah. Their petition also states our son is experiencing, quote, significant difficulties at school. He is an A/B student. Oh, really, Sarah? A, B? Why couldn't you say that your son was a straight A student too? You're the only straight A student in the family, eh? If his favorite class is musical theater, he has 7 friends, sleepovers, a quote girlfriend, and plays online games with the guys almost every day. My son's school is a significant problem in itself. See reviews slash write ups. So she's looked up the school that he could possibly be attending when they relocate. Sarah needs something better to do, like getting in her closing arguments on time, even though this is the past, futuristically. If anything, write ups, not only for our son, but every child who attends there. So she's saying it's a problem. Look at the reviews. It's a problem not just for her son, but all the children. If anything, he can be rezoned to another school. He can be rezoned to another school and still have the same expected capabilities slash opportunities and be closer to me in the prison facility. I'm sure also there are plenty of other very acceptable schools within the authorized 50-mile radius. Has former husband even looked into that? Contacted the supposed far greater educational opportunities stated in the petition. There are such opportunities closer, maybe even better. So Sarah believes that she knows what school is better for her son, even though she used to forget to pick him up from school, right? She actually forgot he was out every day at 2:30, and she was a straight A student herself, so she had to get out at 2:30, 3 o'clock, and she forgot. Sarah. Okay, where were we? I'm sure are closer to me. I see. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Oh, why am I never included in anything regarding our son? Another undeniable complaint and concern of mine? Question. I see this as yet another secret delight from her husband in making this heartbreaking attempt move impossible for me, especially if he sells my car and a bigger disconnect with my son nonetheless. Per the petition, I will be responsible for all my own transportation costs? Yes, Sarah. If you were miraculously released from prison from your life sentence, you would be responsible for your own transportation costs. Just like you should be responsible for the 13 cents a minute that you're trying to bully Brian into paying. Rezone schools. I want to see my son. The move is all about former husband. Former husband admitted to me his parents are selling one of their four homes and moving to South Carolina. He wants to be close to them, and blank is closer to Orlando. Oh, family support, Sarah. Maybe he wants to be closer to his parents. What's wrong with that? Please remember all. The primary reason former husband wants to move are the margins are cut off at the end of these sentences. Sorry. Former husband wants to move and has blatantly laughed at me about repeatedly is because, quote, it's more convenient for him since where they're moving is down the street from the prison. So disgusting. This is very hurtful. Brazen, even. Self proclaiming assumption is said regularly to me and has been already sent in my previous undeniable concerns more than once. How ugly. Wrong. So let's read that again. The primary reason former husband wants to move and has blatantly laughed at me about repeatedly is because, quote, it's more convenient for him since where they're moving is down the street from the prison, end quote. So disgusting. This is very hurtful, brazen even. Self proclaiming assumption is said regularly to me and has been already sent in my previous undeniable concerns more than once. How ugly and wrong. So, Brian telling Sarah that he was going to move and relocate and it's closer to the prison, she takes that as him being what, condescending, especially probably since he hasn't filled out those visitation forms to visit her, according to her. Also, Judge Dean, so this was a letter to Judge Dean. She wrote Judge Dean some nice long letters too. If I may, Sarah, she's always accepting awards. Thank you, Your Honor. If I may, please. Are you aware the prison stipulation, in parentheses, S, stipulations, in their petition, page 2, bottom right, fine print, have you reviewed the, quote, long distance parenting plan included also? Does former husband really expect me to drive? Uh-oh, here we go. Does he expect her to drive? And doesn't sell my car? Remind me of regularly also reminds me regularly also of Uber, bus, helicopter, walk back and forth between Friday and Sunday evening, and I only get to even see my son every other weekend. So this was Brian's proposed prison parenting plan back when Judge Dean was the judge. And this was proposing that Sarah was released, which we know would never was going to happen. Miss Boone, I sentence you. I will. I do not at all agree to this or anything trying to be forced and threatened in order for me to have a relationship with my son. I will no matter what, and for former husband will never take that away. It's not his to take. And does he not realize this all predicted by him in his Sudi, everything in his what? Everything will fall into place perfectly as he sees. This is all predicted by him and is surely everything will fall into place perfectly as he sees. That must be a typo. This is all unpredicted. How can any of this be proposed on predictions? How is any of this even fair? He's trying to be fair with you, Sarah. He's trying to offer you some time, and he's letting you know if you don't have a car that there are buses and Ubers and helicopters, and you have feet you can walk to visit your son. He doesn't have to fund your transportation, is what he's saying, Sarah. Why has nothing been discussed? Only him making demands. Absolutely, undeniably ludicrous and wrong. Former husband is using our son as a ploy, and I feel, oh, really? Former husband is using your son as a ploy, and you aren't? I feel he is seeking his own gratification and pleasure. As said before by former husband, he can't wait for me to be found guilty and leave. He's not even waiting for that. If that even happens, oh, Sarah, futuristically, it happened. You were found guilty. Please tell me when exactly everything predicted is going to happen. Anything. When? You were found guilty of your crime, Sarah. You were convicted. Former husband knows nothing. One thing he does know is that all my concerns are without in every way undeniable and all true. Excuse me. He will never admit and just keeps making his retaliations worse because none of my concerns are made up or false. That doesn't make any sense. He will never admit and just keeps making his retaliations worse because none of my concerns are made up or false. Her logic is so elementary. Only experienced or still she's saying that her undeniable concerns are only experiences and still experiencing, and also that I make his cruel comments, laughter, action known to everyone. He is not who he appears to be, nor will he ever be. I have seen Sarah write this a few times about Brian. She says that a lot about Brian. He's not who he pretends to be. Well, who are you, Sarah? Because you Junkie the Bear, inmate Boone, Sarah Paulson, Sarah Boone. Who are you? The junkie neighbor. Who are you? Judge Dean, there is so much to be said on top of my already very legitimate concerns. I have already sent in hopes to be remedied. Nothing has changed, only gotten meaner and worse. Are you projecting, Sarah? Former husband's egotistic. It's written on a margin and she writes really crazy, excuse me. Egotistical, backhanded schemes, assumptions, and plots are unfair and not at all funny. Who does he think he is now that I am incarcerated? This shows slash explains what kind of quote person he and his family really are. Oh, really? Who, Sarah says, who does her former husband think he is since she's been incarcerated? So that shows that she definitely lost her grip on Brian, and this was this was a few years ago that she wrote this letter. So she's been gunning for her own retaliation against Brian. Check, please. Ever since Brian checked out that day, she's had a axe to grind with him. Who does he think he is now that I'm incarcerated? This shows and explains what kind of person he and his family really are. Therein also explaining many reasons contributing to where I. No, she didn't. Hold on. No, she didn't. Let's hold on. Let me back it up. Former husband's egotistical, backhanded schemes, assumptions, and plots are unfair and not at all funny. Who does he think he is now that I'm incarcerated? Question. This shows what kind of person he and his family really are. Therein, also explaining many reasons contributing to where I am now. There's way more to it all. Two sides. No, she did not. Can you guys believe that? So now it's Brian and his family's fault. They contribute to where she is now. There's so much I can tell you. With that being said, Your Honor, I received a copy of a motion to relocate again today. Shorter, revised, no prison stipulation or holiday schedule, stating that I am only receiving because your J.A. Coffee told his attorney when trying to submit without my knowledge, as usual, in parentheses. I must be included. Otherwise, I would not have like this. Otherwise, I would not have this like I do not have anything else filed from anyone. She never has anything. It's all her fault. She's trying. I'm doing my best. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best. That whole theme hasn't worked for her. So I'm not sure why she keeps going that victim route. No one is feeling sorry for you, Sarah. It doesn't seem. According to the clerk's website, multiple documents have been filed, which I have not been included. So she wants her inclusion for documents that have been filed, like when she had little man open the mail and read his dad's mail. I have not been included on to receive copies. This is a huge complaint and concern in our last status hearing back in September 2022. Why am I not getting copies? The only documents I have are the original summons served on me in front of everyone and now obsolete. That isn't going to happen apparently because of all the other orders, motions, answers filed I know nothing about and can't read or open online and haven't been sent copies. Well, all of those copies and case law and everything that you wanted, and seems like when family court finally came, you fumbled. Okay. The only documents I have are the original summons served on me. Okay, we just read that part. I'm not included in anything other than being told what to do, how, and when, and the terrible, ridiculous person slash parent I am by former husband. Unfair in every way and wrong. Unjust. So she's saying that Brian is calling her a bad, terrible parent, and it's just unfair and terrible. He's telling her that she's going to be in prison and never get out. He's telling her that she did a bad thing and she won't get out, and that's just so unfair and unjust to her. I do not know when the new order setting hearing is set to happen that was just filed or the order filed after on the same day, since my original letter to you 12323 uploaded 13123. Sidebar, a shout out to the paralegal in Florida that left us a comment and said that Sarah may have got her 5-page closing in on time, but it may have not been uploaded yet. It could be under review. Brian, his probably didn't need to be reviewed, but Sarah's may need to be reviewed. Let me get some water. Okay. 13123. 11 other documents have been filed slash uploaded, none of which I can view. Is she trying to view this on her tablet? I only know what I've received, summons, petition. Why am I still not receiving copies? As there's probably so much paperwork, and just like her 5-page closing could be somewhere floating around in the jail mail or the postal system, those motions could take a while to get to her. As said before to you, Your Honor, and the court, this is the only way I am able to be kept updated. Sarah, I think the judge knows that. I have no reliable, consistent outside resources. Oh, what happened to your 9 representatives? Interesting. Oh, they weren't here yet. Back then, was Lana around? I'm not sure. In 2023. Yes, Lana was around. I have no reliable, consistent outside resources to do anything or really provide information. I rely on the court for this inclusion. Please send me copies of everything being filed so I can read and review also. I don't even get a copy of any of my letters anymore, which notifies me the judge has received as I have once before. Why not still? Well, Sarah, they probably got tired of sending you copies of your 28-page letters, your 38-page letters, 58-page letters. Please include me, the respondent, on everything I am able to be. This is my case also, and I am supposed to be treated equally, fairly, and properly as any party to a case as a case should, with or without an attorney. This is my life. This is my life with my son. There is nothing more important. I am not helpless nor giving up in any way, in anything, especially regarding my son and our life together, futuristically. Former husband needs to destroy the crystal ball and don't quit his day job when he has one. Oh, wow. I'm sure undeniably that has been her buzzword through this whole letter, undeniably. I'm sure undeniably by having one also and not relying on his parents' millions, his economic circumstances, quote unquote, would most definitely improve in so many ways. Ooh, burn. So, is that why Sarah believes that Brian can just throw money into the fire pit? She believes that just because his parents are well off and he's taken care of, well, when she was his wife, she had access and rights to that lifestyle, but now she has the rights to a Tillwood lifestyle, like a Woodbridge lifestyle, the barefoot pink shorts type of lifestyle, you know? So she has to understand that, accept that. Let's read that again. I am not helpless nor giving up in any way, in anything, especially regarding my son and our life together futuristically. Former husband needs to destroy the crystal ball and don't quit his day job when he has one. I'm sure undeniably by having one also and not relying on his parents' millions, his quote economic circumstances would most definitely improve in so many ways. So, as she says that Brian needs to destroy the crystal ball is what she still refers to the crystal ball in recent letters and documents that she's uploaded where she says, "How does everyone know? You forget that I have an appeal coming up. Why does everyone think that I'm going to lose my appeal? Do you have a crystal ball? Or why does everyone think that they know what's going to happen? Do you have a..." She always refers to this crystal ball. Former husband has a crystal ball and he's telling our son that I'm going to get life in prison. So here she's telling him to destroy the crystal ball and don't quit his day job. But she has to throw a little dig in when he has one. And she's undeniably sure that by having a day job and not relying on his parents' millions, that his economic circumstances would improve. So if she could map out his life, his finances, and what he should do, why is it hard for her to do that for herself? She's like in her cell budgeting Brian's money and his parents' money and what they could do for him and how she could fit into it. 13 cents a minute? It's only 13 cents a minute, Brian. You've been paying for it all this time and you're just going to stop because of this? Because of this. And she meant because of a life sentence in prison. You're just going to stop. Like, that's a small thing. Oh, let me get my water. Hold on. Oh, it is 2:42 a.m. in California. Let's see. I am me, and I am trying. She is always like giving a speech when she talks. Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. I am me and am trying relentlessly forever. I believe in myself and am confident in God. I will, underline, get through this, and we all will. This is not forever either. My circumstances or remaining life, stop trying to make it. I am hoping for my husband can understand and cooperate as unobtrusive and cordial as possible. New word alert, unobtrusive and cordial as possible in order for everyone's life to be successful and happy. This includes me also. Did you guys hear that? I am me, and I am trying relentlessly forever. She's always pleading to let you know how she's just like a great person who's trying so hard, but the world is just stacked up against her. I believe in myself and am confident in God. I will get through this. We all will. This is not forever either. My circumstances or remaining life. Stop trying to make it. Wow. I am hoping former husband can understand and cooperate as unobtrusive and cordial as possible in order for everyone's life to be successful and happy. This includes me also. So she's saying if former husband can understand that this is not forever, her circumstances, this is not her life. So he needs to stop trying to make this her life and understand she's coming home. If he just understood this and was cordial as possible, everyone's life would be successful and happy, she says. As if their lives aren't successful and happy now, as if they aren't the ones thriving. She is the one who is fighting for her life to get a second chance that most likely 1000% will never come. So that's pretty interesting that she thinks that Brian is serving her life sentence with her, that he should serve her sentence with her, and understand that she may be out one day. Please send copies so I know when the new hearing is scheduled. So I can plan accordingly. So I know what to plan on. Please understand too. We inmates are woken up at 3 a.m. Sit in 3-4 holding cells for 10 to 14 hours when going to court for 30 minutes of your time. Wow. So they're woken up at 3 a.m. They kick the bunk. Yes, her bunk is kicked at 3 a.m. And sit in a holding cell for 10 to 14 hours. How grueling. Wow. For a 30-minute, that's worse than a Disneyland or Magic Mountain ride at an amusement park. You stand in line for all that time in the sun and everyone is hot and you get on the ride and it's for 3 minutes and the thrill is gone. So it's also for 30 minutes of your time. So it's also a physical preparation. Yeah, physically. That's why she needs the snacks, the medical snacks for her blood sugar. On top of the mental. Physical preparation on top of the mental. I very much would like to be ready. Please. Thank you for your time, patience, understanding, and copies. And copies. She threw the copies in there like the judge didn't even agree to give her copies of anything. She just threw that in. Thank you for your time and copies. So Sarah is a really crazy. And here she's talking about private phone time with her son. Now remember during the family law hearing, Brian testified that she instructs her son to go into a quiet place in a dark room almost and close the doors so that Brian can't hear their conversation. So here she's saying that she wants former husband to stop, cease and desist any further comments, opinions, assumptions. Oh, hold on. We got to read that from the beginning because she is going off on former husband about how he speaks about her. She does not want him to prophesize or look in his crystal ball about her case. To summarize, here are my concerns, please. Here are my concerns, please. I would like to address 1. As his mother, my role in my son's life, I matter. I have rules, health concerns, appointments, school, grades, church, friends, behavior, eating habits, computer time. Please discuss specifically, in parentheses, sports groups, activities, and more.